It's a brand new day and a brand new year out here on the Big Lake, and today we're talking about the 4 most terrible, worst baits that I fished in 2022. Stick around. Okay, before we get started with today's video, I'm going to do a little bit of unboxing. I got this package in the mail yesterday, so we're going to go ahead and unbox. This is an order I placed with Academy. I got a Academy gift card for Christmas, so obviously I spent it all in one place. Ha ha ha. So we are going to take a look and do a little bit of an unboxing. It's not something that I've done before, so let's see what we have. First off, a pack of watermelon red fake caffeine shad. I have not been able to find these in my store locally, so this is the only way I can get them is if I order them. I got a pack of watermelon red and smoky shad. These are great, especially for a weightless presentation, because they're full of salt and they sink fairly well. I got a Strike King Pro Model crankbait, Series 5, dives up to 12 feet, in a Tennessee shad color. This, I think, was on closeout for about $3, so that was a heck of a steal, and I will definitely get some use out of that. I got a couple of packs of Super Chunk Super Salt Plus jig trailers. You know I love these. So since I was getting the jig trailers, obviously I had to get some jigs to pair them up with. You know I love me a Bitsy Bug. These are 1/4 ounce. And these colors here, especially with the spring coming up, these are going to be money. And I got a 1/2 ounce Hack Attack flipping jig here in a dark, I got a green pumpkin and blue color. That's going to do amazingly well. And then this right here, this is the thing that I'm really curious about. These teeny tiny little 1/8 ounce little chatterbait jig heads, and they've got these little swim baits on there. I'm not really so much worried about the swim bait, concerned with the swim bait so much as I am that little jig head. Let's open this up real quick, because this is something I really wanted to check out. I'm super curious about this tiny little thing. I think this is going to be amazing. Whoever rigged that swim bait up didn't do a very good job of it, but that's going to be cool to use. I can't wait to try that out. And lastly, there's this, a Smithwick Perfect 10 Rattling Rogue. This is a deep diving suspending jerkbait. It goes up to 12 feet. This is a 5/8 ounce. And this dude is going to do really good whenever I'm fishing deeper water in the bass buggy. So there we go. We got a little bit of a unboxing today. It's not something that I normally do, but I figured you guys might enjoy it. And now we're going to get on with the video. And this is 4 baits that were really terrible in 2022. Welcome back to Lowbrow Fishing, and Happy New Year. Today is January 1st, 2023, and we're out here at the Big Lake, hopefully going to get some fishing in. Skies are beautiful, the lake is calm, hopefully they'll be biting. But today, we're talking about the absolute worst baits that I fished in 2022. You know, every year we get a bunch of new baits that come on the market, and hopefully we get a chance to try them out. But some of the baits that I tried this past year, they just weren't as advertised. In fact, some of them were downright terrible. First up is this monstrosity right here. Now this is a Thunderhawk plopper toad. I don't know if that's exactly the name of it. I don't remember what the name of it, but it is made by Thunderhawk. And I thought it was kind of an interesting concept. You see the weedless treble on the end and the plopper style tail on a hollow-bodied frog. I wanted to give this thing a try. Well, I don't think I caught a single fish. In fact, I'm pretty sure I didn't even get a single blow up on this thing. And bear in mind, it wasn't fished for just a few minutes. I actually fished this thing for hours and hours over the course of multiple days. Now, I don't know if it was just something that somebody cobbled together, thought it seemed like a good idea, and one of those cases where it caught the angler more than it catches fish. And if that's the case, well, it certainly worked. It just didn't do anything for me. And now that I look at it, it's not really that hard to see why. So if you see one of these at your local Ollie's or some other discount store, because as far as I know, this has been discontinued, and with good reason. Steer clear of this thing. It's not a good bait. It's not going to catch you any fish. So perhaps you should just keep right on moving to a real hollow body frog. A spro, a booyah, or a scum frog. You'd be much better served. So that's number one. This Thunderhawk prop frog. This thing is just straight garbage. Now the second bait on our list is something that I've talked about before, and it's just not a bait that I've been a fan of since I've tried using it, and that is the Googan clickbait. And you can see that how worn up it is. I've given this bait a fair shake. And I've given all of these baits a fair shake. It's not like I fished them once or twice and then put them back in the box. I have fished them for hours and hours on different bodies of water, different occasions, different circumstances and conditions. And this, I don't even think I ever even got a bite on this. And this monstrosity right here, what is this? Is that some sort of scaffolding? It's just unnecessary. It adds weight to the bait and it kills the action of it. I'm just not a fan. Now, I'm sure that there's people out there, I'm sure there's guys out there who have fished these and they've caught fish on them and they love them. As with any of the baits that are in here, they may actually love them. But this, no, this is just a piece of garbage. And I'm not really a Googan hater. They make some fine baits. I use them all the time, soft plastic and hard baits. But not this thing. I don't know what they were thinking when they came up with this. There's a reason why a lot of people just straight up copy the Z-Man chatterbait formula. You put the blade on the line tie, just change the shape of it a little bit, and there you go. They wanted to go way outside of the box. They wanted to do their typical Googan thing and come up with something that was radical, new, and something that nobody had ever seen before. And this is just a dud. I would steer clear of these. I cannot recommend this bait. It's just garbage. It's never caught me anything, and I've never even had a bite on it. So you see one of these, keep right on moving. Get a real bladed jig, like a Thunder Cricket or a Z-Man or even a slobber knocker. Those are pretty good too, but this thing, avoid it like the plague. And now we're going to start getting a little bit more controversial with some of the baits, because they are advertised one way and they don't perform how they're advertised. So we're getting away from whether they catch fish or not to whether they perform as advertised. And case in point, and probably the most glaring example of that, is the Strike King Hunter Striker. I believe that's what it's called. These have been out for a little bit now, and I'm telling you what, they were supposed to come through grass. They were supposed to come through like butter and be all clean and everything. And no, this thing gets more gunked up than any other crankbait I know. And the reason is this right here. It acts like a scoop. It acts like a shovel, and it just grabs that hydrilla and just drags it along. You're not ripping this bait free. And I know there's some guys who swear by these and say, hey, these things catch a lot of fish. Well, they may catch fish here and there, but in a super vegetated lake like what we have here at the Big Lake, this does not work. All it does is get gummed up cast after cast after cast. I haven't caught a single thing on it. And you can see how beat up it is. I have tried to use this. I have tried very hard to give it its due diligence and cast it time after time, not just at the big lake or the little lake or the Hatchet Lake, but other bodies of waters that I go, even on river systems. And I don't know. I don't understand how people can say that it's weedless or that it comes through vegetation well. It does not. I don't think I caught a single fish on this thing all year. All I did was pick gunk off of it after every single cast. So this is going to be a pass for me. Now, normally, I'm a huge fan of Strike King. Don't get me wrong. I am not knocking Strike King at all. I love Strike King. They're one of my top favorite brands. I love their jigs. I love their hard baits. I love their soft plastic. But this, for me, was just a swing and a miss. And lastly, number one, the worst bait for me for 2022. And this is going to get me some hate. I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for this one. It's going to be controversial, and people are just going to jump all over me for it. But it is what it is, and that is the jackhammer. That's right, the Z-Man jackhammer. And this one here, I've got a jackhammer Stealth. This didn't do any better. The regular jackhammer, the big blade, the Stealth, I didn't catch any fish with any of them, and I'm actually pretty good with a chatterbait or a bladed jig. The regular chatterbaits, the slobber knockers, the thunder crickets, those are some of my favorite presentations. And if you've been watching my channel over the past year, you've noticed that I have caught many, many fish fishing a bladed jig. It comes through the grass very well. It is a very useful presentation for me in heavily vegetated waters like what we have here. This, you know, for the price tag on it, you would think that it would perform better than it did, but it did not. I just, you know, I had quite a few of these. I went out and I splurged and I bought like 4 of these at a time to go with the regular jackhammers that I have. And they just stay put up. I hardly ever use them because I don't catch fish with them. You know, other guys will swear up and down. You've got guys that say the jackhammer's the best bladed jig. You have got to fish the jackhammer. I catch way more fish on the little $4, $5 regular Z-Man chatterbait. I catch way more fish on that than I do these. I find that they're way more useful for other situations. The little blade there, I mean, it's supposed to be good for heavily pressured waters, I suppose, and it's supposed to give you a more subtle presentation. But at the same time, if you're going to have a more subtle presentation, why fish a bladed jig? Why not just go with something that's not going to give you a bunch of noise anyway? Why not just use a regular swim jig? So I don't understand the logic behind that. Either way, this is a bait that I can take a pass on. I'll save a whole bunch of money and just fish something else. So there you have it. Those are 4 baits that did terribly for me in 2022. Now, there are other baits that did exceptionally well for me in 2022, and I'm going to do a list on those as well, but I just wanted to get the bad ones out of the way. There were some real stinkers and some real clunkers, and I think a lot of it was just gimmicks, just things that were gimmicky baits that were meant to hook anglers over actually catching fish. Some guys might actually be catching fish on those. It just wasn't me, and I can't recommend any of those baits. Thanks for watching Lowbrow Fishing. We'll catch you in the next one.